Welcome to this video, Returning to Work 101, developed by the Return to Work team. This video is geared towards individuals living with the effects of acquired brain injury, or ABI, who are interested in learning more about returning to work after their injury. After an ABI, many people have the goal of returning to work, whether it's returning to their pre-injury role, pre-injury place of employment, or a new job. This video will explore factors that influence the return to work process, readiness to return to work, and the general process. To begin, let's take a look at some of the factors that influence the process of returning to work. Just as each ABI is unique, there are different factors that may influence your process of returning to work, your experience of that process, and your ability to remain at work. Some factors include physical, cognitive, and emotional symptoms of ABI, the treatment you were able to access after the injury, the treatment you continue to access, your access to a support network, including loved ones, the role you're returning to, your workplace environment, your workplace's policies and procedures, Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, WSIB, short-term or long-term disability insurance, whether you are in a unionized role, and the reasons why you are returning to work. Take a pause here and think about how these factors may affect you. When we think about returning to work after an ABI, we need to think about and talk about readiness to return to work. You, your family and friends, your treatment team, and your employer may all have differing opinions on whether or not you're ready to return to work. You might believe you're ready to return to work, however, your loved ones might express concerns. If you have a role that you're returning to, your employer may be eager for you to return to work. Your primary healthcare provider or allied health team member, such as a physiotherapist, might assess your readiness to return to work. They are assessing your physical, cognitive, and emotional capacities compared to the demands and tasks of your job and workplace environment. They will also think about any safety considerations for yourself, for your colleagues, and for your workplace. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to determining whether you are ready to return. Some questions that you might ask yourself are, what makes you think that you're ready to return to work? What concerns do you have about returning to work? Have you begun to speak about returning to work with your loved ones? Do they have concerns? And do you understand their concerns or perspectives? Have you spoken about returning to work with your treatment team? What are their thoughts? And have you prepared to return to work in any way? Have you thought about how you would complete your work tasks? What is the work environment like? Are there elements that are known triggers for your symptoms? And how are you currently completing daily tasks such as grocery shopping, meal prepping, driving or using public transportation, and keeping track of appointments? It is essential to prepare for returning to work. Returning to work is a full-time commitment, and you'll likely need to make changes to best support yourself at work. Your daily tasks and responsibilities do not go away when you return to work, so early preparation is key. If you have a treatment team, consider seeking support on creating a plan to prepare for work. Some considerations are thinking about your home life tasks and responsibilities and how they will be impacted by work. For example, are you responsible for caregiving, taking care of pets, or certain chores or routines? How might these change when you return to work? Another consideration is to practice workplace tasks in a similar environment, especially if you know the type of work environment you're returning to. For example, if you work in construction, practice walking on uneven surfaces or walking in all weather. If you work in a noisy environment, practice reading or writing in a busy cafe or area. If your workplace has bright lights, visit stores with bright lights like grocery stores. The goal is to mimic workplace tasks and environments to slowly build your tolerance. It also provides an opportunity to determine if certain modifications or self-management techniques, such as wearing sunglasses or a wide-brimmed hat, are helpful. Start small and make adjustments early. Next, we will take a look at the general process of returning to work after an injury or illness. If you are looking to re-enter the workforce and you do not have a job to return to, the next section will be for you. This overview is to provide you with the gist of the process, not a detailed map. Generally, the return to work process begins with conversations with your healthcare team. Your primary healthcare provider tends to be the one who provides you with medical clearance to return to work. They may gather information and input from other healthcare providers and may create a return to work plan. This plan outlines the gradual schedule for you to return to full-time duties and full-time hours, restrictions, accommodations, and monitoring. If your workplace requires certain documentation to be completed, such as a functional abilities form or a FAF, your primary healthcare provider can complete this. Next are conversations with your primary contact at work. This may happen during the same time period as conversations with your healthcare team. Your primary contact at work might be your manager or supervisor, someone in the human resources department, occupational health and safety, or people and culture. If WSIB is involved, or if you are receiving short or long-term disability insurance, your primary contact may be a case manager or return to work specialist. Once medical clearance is received and all parties are on board for you to return to work, you will likely have a return to work meeting. This meeting involves you, your employer, and any other relevant parties, such as a WSIB case manager or a union representative. In this meeting, you will review and clarify the components of the return to work plan. As you begin back at work, you will continue with any recommended or required treatment, and adjustments to the return to work plan may be necessary. There will likely be a lot of changes during this time, whether it's an increase in hours or duties, or simply the transition of returning to work after being away for some time. Try to keep your focus on the present and practice patience with yourself and others. If you don't have a role to return to, or you are re-entering the workforce after some time away, the process begins the same with medical clearance to return to work. Your primary healthcare provider may advise you not to return to work for a number of reasons, including the symptoms you experience, safety, and a potential impact if you are someone who receives the Ontario Disability Support Program, ODSP, or Canadian Pension Disability, CPPD. Your payments and benefits may be reduced based on your income. For more information, speak with your contacts at ODSP or CPPD. To prepare for conversations with your healthcare team, you might want to consider what roles and workplace environments you are interested in, and which match your current skills, abilities, and symptoms. If you need support in determining a new career path, a vocational rehabilitation specialist might be able to help you. Alternatively, an employment counselor can help you make decisions about your career and help you by creating a resume, assisting with job search, and developing interview skills. When thinking about whether to disclose that you've sustained an ABI, it's important to weigh the risks and benefits. Prior to an interview, you may need to request accommodations with the interview process. If you will need accommodations for the role, you will likely need medical documentation outlining your current functional abilities, limitations, and accommodations. Speak with your healthcare team and support network to decide what's right for you. There is support available. Contact OBIA today to see what programs and services are available to you. Contact the helpline by calling 1-800-263-5404 or emailing support@obia.on.ca.